Dubbed by some as the Southern Strokes, Kings of Leon, formed in Nashville, Tennessee in 1999, are a band consisting of brothers and a cousin, Caleb, Jared, Nathan and Matthew Followill. Raised in Oklahoma and Tennessee and starting a band in Nashville, Tennessee, the Kings of Leon probably didn't expect their initial success to stem from the UK.
We're basically a family band. Country punk, garage family band.
The inception of Kings of Leon began with Caleb and Nathan writing country music while based outside of Nashville. The shift towards a 70s southern garage rock vibe began after meeting songwriter and producer Angelo Petrolgia, who introduced the brothers to Thin Lizzy, The Clash and the Rolling Stones. Jared and cousin Matthew soon moved to Nashville to join them, combining Jared's love of indie rock acts like the Pixies and the Velvet Underground with Caleb and Nathan's love of country. After signing to RCA as Kings of Leon, named after their grandfather, the band's first project, EP Holy Roller Novocaine, recorded after a marijuana binge in their basement, was released in February 2003, only a few months before their debut album. Caleb and Nathan, along with the aforementioned Angelo, wrote the songs for the EP. It generated a good buzz around the band. The project was rated well by critics, receiving a 4 out of 5 from Rolling Stone. The song Molly's Chambers even appeared on a Volkswagen advert.
Yeah, we're still working on it. We're thinking about youth and young manhood, but it's not definite yet. So.
Debut album, Youth and Young Manhood, released in July 2003 and got to number 3 in the UK album charts, while only hitting 113 in the US. They played Scottish festival Tea in the Park in 2003 in the X Tent, playing alongside Naughty's Titans on the lineup, like the White Stripes, the Flaming Lips and Coldplay, to name a few. Only the following year, riding the success of their debut album, the boys were on the main stage on the Sunday, followed by the Pixies and the Strokes, a testament to how rapidly their popularity grew in the UK. The band's early look, made up of flared jeans, handlebar moustaches, shearling jackets and other 70s cliches, made them look like members of the Allman Brothers or Ram Jam more than the Strokes. Leaning into 70s stylings helped the boys stand out amongst other bands, riding the garage rock wave pedalled by the bands like White Stripes, Jet and Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, to name a few. The Kings of Leon's sound consists of scrappy guitars through loud amps, healthy use of cowbell, punchy drums and bass, all laid over with Caleb's yelping vocals, singing like his life depends on it in his heavy southern accent. Lyrical content on the record is a mixture of truth and hyperbole, with songs like Tranny going down a route similar to the Kinks' Lola, Joe's Head about cheating and murder, California Waiting about having the girl of your dreams and realising it's not quite what you imagined it to be. Nathan said about the songs, quote, "Each song has a part of us in it, but part of it is fiction as well, because we have wild imaginations." Standout singles from this early phase of their career include Molly's Chambers and Red Morning Light. The opener to Youth and Young Manhood, Red Morning Light acts as a swift blow to the jaw and tells listeners exactly what they're getting in for in this album. From the in-your-face aggressive intro of a descending guitar, to the boogie of the bass in the verse leading to the chorus, topped with clever wordplay disguising lyrics simply about a prostitute. It's a taste of the dirty, rough-around-the-edges sound of the band, an introduction to the Kings of Leon. Red Morning Light was released as a single in December 2002 and peaked at number 22 in the UK singles chart, the highest of all of the Youth and Young Manhood singles. Molly's Chambers continues this theme, with a title pinch from Thin Lizzy's Whiskey in the Jar. The lyrics describe a woman that you know is bad for you, but you pursue anyway. Another prime example of the band's ability to write hooky, infectious riffs. This is the shortest song on Youth and Young Manhood, coming in at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. All killer, no filler, direct and to the point, with simple but effective guitar parts, straight ahead drumming, and a simple A-B-A-B-C-B structure. They didn't intend to reinvent the wheel, just to make the best wheel that they could. There's an early version of the song called Molly's Hangover floating around on the internet. A slower, more acoustic-y rendition of the song that was released as a single with Wasted Time, but was ultimately not chosen for the album.
Just another girl that wants to rule the world at any time or place.
Regardless, Molly's Chambers sold 200,000 copies in the UK, achieving silver certification. Arguably one of the more enduring singles from Youth and Young Manhood, it follows similar stylings to the rest of the singles and cements this early archetype of sound for the band.
You want it, well she's got it. Gonna change your mind. She's got
decade after its release, the NME published an album A&E piece on the record, singing the record's praises and even calling California Waiting their best single. It's safe to say, an album bursting at the seams with a young, boundless energy, Youth and Young Manhood stands as the album that started it all for the band and is rightly held in high esteem today.
Most of the bands that are still talked about today are talked about that because the way their method was unique and their method was honest, you know.
Following the great success of their first album is Aha Shake Heartbreak. The band continues in the same sort of direction, expanding upon the foundation of scrappy garage rock that was built on the previous record, but while slightly bellowing out and creating a more sonically diverse project. Songs like Raz and Velvet Snow maintain that high energy vibe, but there are more relaxed songs than rages on this EP, with tracks like Milk, Rememo and Day Old Blues. This album saw similar success to the previous, both going double platinum and peaking at number 3 in the UK. Aha Shake, however, proved more successful in the US this time around, reaching number 55 in the US album charts. Nathan says about the sound of the record,
A lot of the tones that we were going for with our guitars, wasn't about being on 10. It was about sometimes being on 2 in order to get that crunch or that sound that you wanted.
the guitar tones are certainly more refined and perhaps more deliberate than in Manhood, and the boys' maturity in their songwriting really shows here, which is a small glimpse into the future of the band's output. 3 singles were released to promote Aha Shake Heartbreak: King of the Rodeo, 4 Kicks and The Bucket. The Bucket is Kings of Leon's best performing single up to this point in their career, peaking at number 16 in the UK singles charts and 26 in the US as their domestic market starts to come around to their sound. Building on that maturity mentioned, this song is about youngest band member Jared coping with fame, as he was only 16 when the band formed. Written by the 4 members together, it details the nerves, embarrassment and pressure felt by Jared during this skyrocketing of fame that they had received. Controversial line,
"You kick the bucket, I'll swing my legs."
is written in Jared's perspective, wanting to remove himself from the band and asking the others for help. And then they respond,
Always remember the pact that we made. Too young to die, but old is a grave.
as if to say no to Jared's plea, looking out for their brother in his time of need. As much as Jared felt like leaving was his best option, reassurance and support from his family was always there for him. Ultimately, this song is a poignant look into the band's mindset and position at the time, and holds up as a strong, heartfelt, well-written, hooky standout in the Kings of Leon catalogue. Aha Shake Heartbreak was a step forward for the band, working towards finding themselves even further as a unit, writing more poignant songs, slowing their tempos down a bit, acting a bit more deliberately in regards to the timbre of their music. This more labour of love approach helped the band's popularity grow across either sides of the pond, blossoming in the UK further and beginning to sprout in the US after a couple of years of struggling. Aha Shake was well received, achieving a 4 out of 5 from The Guardian and from Q Magazine, and an 8 out of 10 from the NME. In 2004, the Kings were nominated for the Best International Breakthrough Act at the Brits, losing out to the White Stripes, which is fair enough. It was a strong step in the right direction for the band, which bookended what you might call the early days of the Kings of Leon. So, Aha Shake Heartbreak releases, the band's success in the States begins to snowball, and as a result they get booked on a huge career-defining tour, supporting U2. This had a huge impact on their perspective, as U2's arena shows are less suited to punky garage rock, more to huge wall of sound type music that the band simply didn't have. Of course, this led to album 3 and Beyond, representing a huge tonal shift, and ultimately to the band's biggest hit to date, Sex on Fire, and the Kings of Leon were never the same again. In the description is a link to Middle Eight's video about Kings of Leon and their story post album 2, discussing how some might see their moves as selling out, and their frustrations. Definitely an interesting watch. The Kings of Leon began life as a family band creating sloppy rock and roll that the world was craving at the time. Their early work is regarded by some as their best and helped the band become a household name that it is today. Influential to many bands and artists of many genres, such as Rainbow Kids and Surprise, The Snuts and even Shawn Mendes apparently, they are one of the few noughties bands to continue their success into the 10s and 20s, and for good reason.